For many of us, there is a gap between the compass and the clock, between what's deeply important to us and the way we spend our time. And this gap is not closed by the traditional time management approach of doing more things faster. In fact, many of us find that increasing our speed only makes things worse. Consider these questions: if someone were to wave a magic wand and suddenly grant you the 15 or 20% increase in efficiency promised by traditional time management, would it solve your time management concerns? While you may feel initially excited about the prospect of increasing your efficiency, if you're like most of the people we work with, you'll probably conclude that the challenge you face cannot be solved simply by increasing your ability to get more things done in less time. In this section, we'll take an in-depth look at the three generations of traditional time management and explore the reasons why they fail to close the gap. We'll ask you to consider whether you look at life through a basic paradigm of urgency, of importance, and will discuss the effects of urgency addition. We'll look at the need for a fourth generation that's different in kind. More than time management, it's a generation of personal leadership. More than doing things right, it's focused on doing the right things. In Chapter 3, we'll address the hard questions about what first things are in our lives and our capacity to put them first. This chapter deals with the three core ideas at the very heart of the fourth generation. It will probably challenge the way you think about time and life. This chapter requires an emotional willingness to do some deep interior work. We suggest you go through it in sequence, but if you feel it would be more useful for you, go on to section 2, get into the quadrant 2 organizing process, see the benefits of what we're talking about, and then come back to chapter 3. We guarantee that understanding and applying the three fundamental ideas in this chapter will have a dramatic impact on your time and the quality of your life. How many people on their deathbed wish they spent more time at the office? We're constantly making choices about the way we spend our time, from the major seasons to the individual moments in our lives. We're also living with the consequences of those choices, and many of us don't like those consequences, especially when we feel there's a gap between how we're spending our time and what we feel is deeply important in our lives. My life is hectic. I'm running all day, meetings, phone calls, paperwork, appointments. I push myself to the limit, fall into bed exhausted, and get up early the next morning to do it all again. My output is tremendous. I'm getting a lot done, but I get this feeling inside sometimes. So what? What are you doing that really counts? I have to admit I don't know. I feel like I am being torn apart. My family is important to me, so is my work. I live with constant conflict, trying to juggle the demands of both. Is it possible to be really successful and happy at the office and at home? There is simply too little of me to go around. The board and shareholders are on me like a swarm of bees for our declining share prices. I am constantly playing referee in turf wars between members of my executive team. I feel tremendous pressure to be leading our organization's quality improvement initiative. The morale among our employees is low, and I feel guilty for not getting out with them and listening more. On top of all this, despite our family vacations, my family has a lot written me off because they never see me.